How is everybody doing tonight?
Tired.
Good.
Tired. Good. Got thumbs up going on. Anybody booking like events or rentals like crazy with Easter coming up?
Yes.
Anybody sold out yet for Easter? No? Yes? Maybe?
I wish.
I feel like this Easter is a little slower than before, but I think that's because COVID was, like a big deciding factor. I think a lot of people are doing stuff at home. So there is that, and got people coming in. All right. So first, before we get started, I am going to introduce you guys to two very special guests this evening. I'll start with Lionel. Lionel is one of our new growth strategists at Event Hawk. This is his first roundtable, and I will turn it over to him. He can say a couple of words and tell you guys a little bit about him.
How's everybody doing tonight? My name's
Good,
Lionel. I'm in Houston.
Good.
And I'm excited to be here, man. I'm new to the bounce house world. I worked at a Chevrolet dealership for 8 years, so I'm hoping to learn a lot from you all and hopefully, give you guys some tips off some things that I've learned over the years as well.
Did you tell him where you were from?
Houston.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to share on Facebook, so please forgive me. The next member of our team is Frank.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So listen, I'm Frank. My name is I'm Frank Jimenez. I'm here from San Antonio, Texas, just up the street from Lionel. And so I too have some experience with entrepreneurship, starting small businesses and all that good stuff. I'm excited to be here. I was happy to hear that you guys do roundtables. If this is your first roundtable, you're definitely gonna get a lot out of it because you have all different levels of experiences in this realm. And so I too want to learn some good old stuff and some tricks and tips and all that good stuff. So with that, this is time to kick it off.
Awesome, guys. Well, we are so excited to have you on the team. Someone asked, and I think they said, is his name Lionel? Sorry, I was out of the room. Did he say Lionel? His name is Lionel. They started with us, almost 2 weeks ago, and they are absolutely killing it. So super psyched. If anybody, guys, I'm going to throw you under the bus for a second. If anybody is in the Houston or San Antonio, is that right, Frank?
That's right.
Okay, I'm like, if anybody's in the Houston or San Antonio area and they want to take Frank or Lionel out for a ride along, shoot us a text in Event Hawk, and we would love to make that happen. If you guys were close to Nick, I'd just send you with Nick, but Nick knows what I'm talking about. So
Hey, I'm not too far from Houston. I'm only like a 5-hour drive.
I gotta earn my stripes, Nick.
Come on.
So any takers? I think I saw George commenting, I'm volunteering free work, guys, free work, free labor. We also have Vanessa and Jennifer here from the Event team as well. Guys, we got clients asking for you to come to Florida. You can go work with them, and everybody will put everybody to work at this point, it seems like. So the real reason that we're here tonight is to talk about closing sales and basically how to seal a deal. Who here, you guys can raise your hands, I think maybe on Zoom, who here thinks that they're a good closer or who has a really high close rate? Justin Worth says he is a good closer. Anybody else? Come on, guys. Nick is a good closer. David Wagner is a good closer. Rachel says, my husband, not me. Stacy is getting there. Stacy, I believe that, girl. You are a hustler through and through. You crack me up. let's see. It looks like. All right, so we've got a couple of closers in the house, and then I guess a lot of people here to learn. Steven says he's almost there. Derek said, I think he said he's a solid closer. Me and Nick were just having a kind of like I guess a conversation back and forth on Facebook, and I know Nick wants to leave early because he's starting his like early morning regimen. So I think that we'll talk about that to start. Nick, probably, do you know what I'm talking about, Nick? About like responding to the message. It was kind of like a post, and then it turned into like a conversation with a lot of different, you know,
where
opinions.
I was saying that they was that Jordan was texting too many times back and forth.
Yes, but then I think that you should have just stopped replying, or you should, you know, like you shouldn't chase the customer.
I was shocked about that whole thread, to be honest. Like how people are like, "Oh, they're just window shopping. Just leave them alone." I'm like, "Do what?" Like,
yeah,
leave them alone.
I
was surprised that people said that.
I'm a hustler. I like money, so I'm never, you know, like unless you really just rub me the wrong way, I'm going to try to sell you, you know, or unless you're like, hey, I want the cheapest, you know, dirtiest bounce house out there. I don't care if it has patches, or then you're not my kind of customer. But other than that, you know, if I'm given the opportunity to engage with you, I'm going to engage. I was shocked, like Nick was, that so many people were like, I don't chase people. I don't respond to text messages. I don't answer my phone after 3 o'clock. And I'm like, what are you guys even in business for? And it was just, you know, it kind of blew my mind. And that was one of the reasons that we decided to do this, because I thought maybe it's me. Like maybe I'm the weird one. Maybe Nick is the weird one. You know, maybe we're doing it all wrong. So I would love some feedback on that. Is there anybody who doesn't answer their phone? And you can answer in the chat. Stace or Ken said, ABC always be closing. I agree. Is there anybody that doesn't answer their phone after 5 o'clock? Alex says, I'm a 24/7 call center. Alex, my friend, I am with you. I shut my business phone off after 7. I answer until I fall asleep. I often fall asleep with my phone, so I can relate to that. My event hawk text stops going out at 8 o'clock. So because I feel like after that, it's a little, don't get me wrong, people respond to my text messages all hours, but for me to initiate the conversation, I feel like after 8 o'clock is kind of my cutoff, but I'm still, you know, if you're going to respond to me, then I'll reply back to you as long as, you know, I'm awake or whatever. Stephanie and Jason, I answer 24/7. My cut to send is 10 p.m. Yesterday, I almost replied to a message at 10:30, but I usually stop at 9 unless we're having a conversation. I call every single customer who fills out the contact form. I don't care if it's 11 p.m. I will pick up. My event hawk texts are always on. I don't answer my phone, but I text and then I call them if needed. Does anybody like not answer their phone and then when they miss the call, just immediately send them a text?
Me.
Matthew, yes. Jennifer. Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, unless it, like, I can tell who so I have visual caller ID, so it will like say a name or a church or a school or something. Those are the ones that I actually will answer, but pretty much everybody else I don't answer, and then they get a text. I answer the Google Ads guys call. Oh, those are like the worst, and I swear they're calling from different
9 a.m.
Yeah, like I'm like, what? No. Let's see. I text also. No calls, all text. I hate talking on the phone, but I always answer. And it drives me crazy to get the report from Google saying I missed the call. I cold call at 1 to 4 a.m. Let them know I mean business. You guys are funny. So what do you think? And if you guys don't mind just putting it in the chat, what do you think is too late to like answer a call or reply to a text? between 3 a.m. and 5. 9, 9, 8, 9. If I'm asleep after 9. What about too early to reply? Like, what is too early to text a customer? Eight o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7. I'm up, I'm answering. 7, 8. You guys that are brave before 8 o'clock. I mean, I get customers that text at like 6:45. So pretty much it seems like between 7 and 9 seems to be the consensus for the morning, and between 8 and 10 seems to be the consensus at night. 5 or 6, unless they message me first. So who uses Event Hawk? If you just put in the chat yes or no. And if you use Event Hawk, do you guys utilize the templates? I hear all the time, like, we have customers, and even not customers, because I talk to a lot of people outside of, Event Hawk clients, but something that I, see a lot, or if somebody posts a conversation, or, I'll always see people posting their Facebook Messenger conversations from Marketplace. Like, the person will have replied from Marketplace and start a conversation with the person. And I'm always just taken back, like, by the lack of salesmanship that I see going on. Like, the customer will say, how much is this? Or is this slide available? And then the business owner replies, yes, or $250 and nothing else. And then they wonder, like, why the customer is gone. Like, they ghosted you. Like, I'm putting myself out there, like, yes, it's available. Can I help you, place the reservation? Or what date are you looking for? Or, is there a theme for your party? Or, just really anything to start engaging in a conversation to close this sale. Nick, what are some of the questions that you ask, like, whether it be just a regular text message, an Event Hawk message?
Yeah, I'm big on, and I teach the admins to end the message with a question, because then it keeps the client engaging so you can get to the close. Like, always be closing, like, to the next step. So if they're going to ask a question, how big is this slide? You don't just reply back, we need 35 feet by 12 feet. You reply back, we need 35 feet by 12 feet. How big is your yard? Or are we putting in the front yard or the backyard? And you continue the conversation to keep it going to where you can then get them to the close. And I'm with you. The amount of people that don't have the salesmanship to do that is wild, because they became entrepreneurs. Like, it's not crazy that people don't do that. It's crazy to me that entrepreneurs don't do that.
Well, it's not just
we have our templates that we use, that I wrote, then tweaked and then passed off to them, and they put their own emojis in it and have their own flair with it. But they're basically the same thing. Like, compress the conversation as small as you can, but end in a question.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Nick. I was just piggybacking off of what you said. To me, it's not just salesmanship. Of course you want the sale, but ultimately it's customer service. People buy for people, man. So you just have to learn how to interact with them, relationship, gain the trust, and then after that, the gate's wide open.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I grew up in sales too back in the old days. So it's like, you have a hot lead that comes in, and then it's like, you should, like, push people out of the way to get to the phone to interact with them. Like, I get excited when I got a hot lead, not cool them off. I don't know. It's just counterintuitive to me.
Sorry, guys. I have like this moth or something that's flying around, and it's like all in my face. And so I'm trying to, like, get it out of my face. So I do apologize for that little bit of awkwardness. So customer service definitely is a part of it. When a client comes and they ask, like, what is your initial question that you ask? If you guys are using templates, I'm I'm just kind of scrolling through the conversation as well. If you guys are using templates, what is the first thing that you're asking? You know, if the customer comes in and they say, I'm looking for something for this date. Is there a question that everybody's asking, or what is your best practice, I guess? And we can kind of go around. I see a lot of people using different templates. Rachel says she's using them, that it's not working for her. I paid salespeople to leave me alone until I needed their help. They got quotes from other people because but they chose us because we're nice. Do you guys only reply to leads via text message? I work for Verizon, making outbound calls for sales daily. It's all about open-ended questions. Keep the customer talking. Who is that? iPhone? Who is iPhone? What theme are you looking for? What size is your yard? As of now, I post to Facebook pictures where their party is, when their party is, what city and state, what's your location. I use templates 90% of the time. Mauricio, M and K and Playbills. Hey. So definitely agree with the open-ended questions. Derek, are you raising your hand to talk, or because you are answering a question that I had?
I'm sorry. That was an accident.
No, it's okay. I just didn't want to ignore you. The last Zoom that we had, I ignored a whole bunch of people with their hands up, and then I felt like a jerk. So I just wanted to see. What about Jessig? Jessig, your hand is up. Do you have a question, or did you want to say something? I'm a horrible host, guys. All right, so we are asking open-ended questions. Does anybody not ask questions and still close? Like, do you find that your flow works good for you, or do you, if they say a date, I ask a unit, okay, great, you're looking to rent something for kids. Wow, God, Stephanie, that looks so familiar. So me personally, when somebody replies to, I can only speak for Event Hawk or text our business number. The first thing that I ask when somebody gives a date is I usually say, okay, great. Are you looking for something for kids? And then in parentheses, it says like bounce house water slide combo or something like that, or kids and adults giant water slide. Of course, I have a ton of different units and all kinds of different things. But that really starts the conversation. And I know just right off the bat, like, are they looking? I'm real picky, you guys. I guess I should lead with that. So my combos, I say, are geared for 12 and under. And then like my water slides either have an age group assigned to it based on the size, or they're good for kids and adults. So that's the first question that I want to get out of the way, is what they're looking for, because it helps me gauge like which direction I'm going to go in. And of course, at that point, people will tell you what they're looking for, or they'll say, I'm looking for the cheapest wet thing. And I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Those are the responses that I dislike the most, is the I'm looking for the cheapest, or, I can appreciate their honesty, but at the same time, I'm more expensive than everybody. So that's, it's always like an immediate, like, I may not win this one over, unless I, talk about my excellent service. So Jonathan Naranjo wants to know what Nick's 3 questions are. And I was curious about that too, because Nick had said in this, there was a rental owner who had posted in one of the groups and said, like, what did I do wrong, or what could I do better? And they had answered a question. I should have looked up the post, but he asked a bunch of questions, and then the customer just kind of disappeared. And so Nick was like, hey, you asked way too many questions. I asked 3 questions and then we're good. So Nick, what can you share those? Put you on the hot spot, but it's actually Jonathan's. Totally Jonathan.
So the first one, so the Event Hawk message goes out, and and that message is pretty much the same. I took my name out of it, so it just says this is the jump off. We want to know the date of the party. What's that? So right, the first message that we see that comes to us that we're aware of is they reply with the date, right? April 9th. So then the next message that goes out is awesome. What does it say? Awesome. What was your favorite unit on the website? Do you know? If not, click below to go back to the website. And then there's the URL to go back to the inventory page, not the home page. Don't be rude and send them to the home page. Send them where they need to go. And so that way, right, they'll see water slides, bounce houses, obstacle courses, foam machines, whatever. And then they can go reshop basically and then reply back to us and tell us the pirate fortress. Then you say, okay, awesome. And then the next one is as much information, all the information we need, we're asking for in one text message. So what's the address? What's the time of the party? And what surface are we setting up on? So they can reply back, bang, bang, bang. We then go in, we make the booking in inflatable office ourselves, like manually, and then send it back to them with the link. So we copy the quote link and send it back to them, say, okay, everything's all set. Please double check our all of our info here to make sure it's right. But all you gotta do is pay $50, read, sign the contract, and you're locked in. Just click this below. And there's wording in there that says that if you don't do that, you're not, you don't have it rented. But those are the three messages. And they're fast. When you're using templates, it's fast.
Mine are very similar to Nick's. Anybody who uses Event Hawk probably is going to have the same. I'm trying to screen share here without shutting off the live. They're probably going to have the same kind of. Did I shut you guys off?
No, what?
Okay. Holy cow. I was like, everybody disappeared for a second. I told you guys, I'm super horrible at this multitasking thing, but I wanted to pull up the templates for you guys and I can send them to you guys. If you're not an Event Hawk customer, I can send you mine because I created a lot of these myself, but I'm going to screen share if I can find the Zoom again. And we can kind of go through these a little bit. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. So mine are kind of jumbled in with Tariq's as well. And some of these are like random ones that I've created just because we're answering the same question again. So like Easter, I use this every year because we're always getting questions and this answer is like, hey, we're super busy. We need you to be flexible. Otherwise we can't rent to you. But something that I use a lot is this, can I get a discount? Like people always say like, do you have any discounts? Can you do better price? And I'm like, why are we negotiating? So this is mine. Sarah, we're completely sold out most weekends, so we can't really lower the price anymore. We do offer free overnight. That is my Event Hawk special. Our rates are actually going up soon since price increases are hitting everyone. But if you book now, you'll be guaranteed an inflatable rental at the lower rate. Would you like me to get that unit reserved for you? It sounds so dumb. Like when I read it, I'm like, I can't. But people actually are like, okay, that's great. And like, no problem. We're excited. And I'm thinking, I can't believe that like really worked. Nick and a couple of other people had said in the chat, they follow up with everyone. So anybody that is in our system that is just a quote or got downgraded to a quote, we send this kind of template to, and then we link back to the quote like Nick said. So I'm always sending a link if I'm following up, if I'm giving a price, there's always a link for them to be able to book. Like Nick said, we have templates that give us all the information as few messages as possible. But my original message, like I said, is, and these are in horrible order, so don't judge me on that. But my original message is this unit type. Okay, great. Are you looking to rent something for kids? Bounce house water slide combo, or kids and adults giant water slide. We're wet like 9 months out of the year, so this usually works. We'll tweak it in the winter. Once we do that, though, we simplify it. In order to place the reservation, I need basically like what Nick said: name, address, email address, best contact phone number, party date, time. We'll be setting up on grass. Please make sure you let us know the time of your event party, not the time you hope the unit is delivered. So we started doing this because before Inflatable Office had the like max capacity for time frames, everybody was picking 10 o'clock. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. So when we started asking the question, people started saying, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. We just set that expectation, which has really been helpful for us. So once we send that, then we follow that up with, once I get that information, I'll send you an email confirmation, which will contain a payment link for $1 deposit, and the electronic contract is signed. Please make sure you sign and pay within 24 hours or the order will automatically cancel. Let me know if you have any questions. We're excited, super excited to work with you. And then it inserts their name. That is pretty much, actually, yeah, that is pretty much like our go-to. So those are 2 messages that we send to everybody. And then we link back with an actual link to the order. Tariq has some other ones in here. I just use mine because they work for me. I use a lot of emojis because I feel like it makes the conversation flow a little bit better. It's a little friendlier. And then I always laugh when like people send emojis back or like memes back. I have men that send like the most random things, and I'm laughing, wondering if their wife know that they're hilarious. But we have some other ones. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we have a couple left for that day. Which one caught your eye? So we can double check availability. That's kind of what Nick said, but with his spin on it. And then you can link back to, if they're looking for a water slide, the water slide page, or the, the bounce house page, whatever it is that particular person is going. And so the person that I think Nick on that post had followed some of these same templates, but I felt like they were a little dry, like there was nothing, they didn't add anything to it. Like instead of making it your own, they just were like, hey, I'm just gonna, use this, and then didn't ask a question at the last, interaction. So if you're not using templates, I would highly recommend either creating your own or asking, one of us to look at our templates, because it makes the whole process it just dumbs it down. Like it's so much simpler to just click it or copy and paste it instead of like having to write something custom. And you can still customize it. Like once you use the template, you can add, your own spin to it in the beginning or the middle or the end. But these convert like really well. I convert probably 30 to 40% of my Event Hawk customers with the templates, and then tons of just my IO quotes that I get that don't go through my Event Hawk as well. But again, like these ones here down at the bottom, add your category URL before sending it. If you know their name, it's really good to call them by name. It kind of builds like a little relationship just right out of the gate. And then the rest of my templates are just pickup, delivery, holidays, Easter capacity. I think that I saw Anai on here. And so we had an Easter one that we did together a couple of years ago, 4th of July, just really anything. And I guess something, I'm not a huge fan of these, but there are price ones as well. So if somebody says like, hey, you're too expensive, or you're more expensive than, total bounce or whatever. So these are some things that you can say and then kind of customize them to to fit your business. I understand price is an important factor. We may not be the cheapest, but we're totally worth the extra $50 or so to you pay to make sure you're working with a reputable 5-star company that's licensed, insured, and guaranteed to deliver clean and safe equipment to your event on time. What do you say? Give us a shot, Nick. I use that one all the time. The rest of them, I don't price match. I don't show me a lower price. I don't really care about any of those. I like to educate people, like when they give me a hard time about my price, or they say, you know, oh, I'm going to go with someone else. And even, I think I have one that asks why they went to somebody else. Hey, Sarah, would you be willing to share the deciding factor that resulted in you choosing a different company to work with? We are always working on improving. Any feedback would be appreciated. Thank you. So those are things that I use just because, like, I want to know. You, like, 90% of the time it's price. But I'm a horrible person, and sometimes I'll put those people on like D&D, so I don't like remarket to them because they told me I was like way too expensive, or I shouldn't charge delivery, or you know, whatever. But I like to ask, and then I like to educate, because I am proud of not being the cheapest, about being, you know, having the newest, cleanest equipment, being licensed and insured. Those things are important to me. So when a customer comes back at the last minute and is like, somebody didn't show up, or they canceled, or whatever, you know, I have people say like, you tried to warn us and we didn't listen to you, and we're so sorry. We're never going to make that same mistake again. Like, literally people tell me that. And so again, it's not like trying to sell myself to them or anything like that. It's just taking pride in what I do, and, you know, and what I stand for. And I think, you know, Nick could probably speak to this as well. Like, a customer is a customer. Like, sometimes people just don't understand the value of all those things that I named off: being licensed, being insured, especially if you're in a state that doesn't require it. And I can't tell you how many people I've sent that to that are like, you know what, you're right. It's only $30, or it's only $40, or let's do this, or, you know what, I'm going to book the mermaid. My daughter really loves it, and the other place didn't have it. So just like I said, educating, you know, people a little bit, in my opinion, is definitely helpful. I see a ton of comments. I'm going to turn that off and just scroll through these just real quick. Nick is offering to send templates. If you have Event Hawk, you can text the word templates to our customer service number, and we will email them to you. Jump Party, right now, that downgraded to quote is manually sent by us, because we screen ours. We don't send that. So like, what I do, or what my reservationist does, and she looks at our lead list and goes based on like ticket value. So if it's an $873 order, she starts with the most expensive and goes down from there. So not necessarily will all the downgraded to quotes get a message. It's based on like our availability for that date and their order total. And to be completely honest, guys, by doing that, by implementing, like by following up by order total, I did 350 less events last year, the same amount of revenue. We were closed for like 2 months because of the hurricane. So I did 350 less events, the same amount of revenue, and increased my average ticket by like $130-ish by utilizing the lead list, you know, by highest value to lowest. Are those templates on Event Hawk? I might need to text in for updated ones, because that one is really good. The one about we need to start your event. What time do you want us there? Yep, Edgar, just text in the word templates and it'll email to you. I'm working on new templates as well. Oh, good job, Lionel. Sorry about my dogs. Let's see. If you're chatting through Facebook, I know we say UTA Facebook, but the boards app is super helpful, so you don't have to copy and paste your templates from Event Hawk. Good to know. Not super familiar with that, but I'm definitely going to check it out. Let's see. Why did you call us? What are you looking for that we're not offering? Does your add-on template work well, Jana? Edgar's right. I will be honest. I started using the add-on template. I did a test for a couple of weeks and we had to stop using it because we literally had people like adding extra units, like so many tables and chairs that we were having to like reroute our entire routes because all these crazy people were like adding all this stuff and it was overloading our trailers. So we just stopped doing that because even though it was making us more money, it was causing a ton more headache. Nick says send him
Jana?
Yes.
With the add-ons,
Mhm.
did you just do the template and just say I have X, Y, and Z available, or did you actually send them a link to what was available?
So on the add-ons, I set up an auto text through Event Hawk and it
I have that.
actually okay, it linked them to the concession page and my table and chair. But like
So it linked them to
we
both
had, like,
pages?
it did, yep. So it kind of gave them like another, look into like the add-ons that we had, but people were adding like 50 chairs and 8 tables and it was just starting to become more of like a problem than like beneficial. I was like, okay, I'm done testing that. You can find somebody else too because it's a mess. Let's see. Does telling your customers they can book everything themselves lose you sales? Cody, that is a great question. So I'm going to talk about Event Hawk customers and then I'll talk about regular customers. So with the Event Hawk system, it's set up to text the customers after a certain amount of time that they've been on your website.
I think you still have a plate full of food over there. If you would eat some chicken,
I would never. Oops, sorry guys. Somebody was talking about dinner. I would never send a customer back to my website that was already on my website. That's just me. Like it doesn't make sense to me if they were just on my website, they didn't place a reservation or they didn't take a valuable action. So they didn't call me, text me, email me, or book, but then I'm sending them back. Like that's a surefire way to risk losing them, in my opinion. So like Nick said, we get all that information in the text. It takes, 60 seconds to enter that in to your booking software and complete either a quote or that reservation for them. So I like half the time I don't even send them back just to reference things. Like I might send the link to a specific slide or something, but I don't think I've ever told anybody to go back to my website to reserve. That's, like I said, I just think that's a quick way to lose a sale. So I say the same thing, like even if you don't have a booking software, if you don't have Event Hawk, take their order, like get their information, send them a payment link to secure the deposit or the contract or whatever it is that you have going on. But me personally, I wouldn't send them back to the website to book unless you don't like money. Like if you don't like money, if you don't want more business, sure, send them back. It doesn't matter. But for me, I want all the business I can get.
Yeah, I made that mistake when I first got Inflatable Office. I was like, cool, I don't got to do all that crazy stuff now. I can just send them to the website to book. And then I started looking back. I'm like, oh, everybody you send back to book in the website doesn't book anything. Like, right, my business got a little better with Inflatable Office and then tanked because of me. And then as soon as I started going in manually making their quote for them and sending it to them, it went, I got 3 times as busier than I've ever been. But I'll never understand them back to book. Like, I
mean, like I said, if if your business is big enough that you don't want the sales or you don't want the orders or whatever, I mean, I can't imagine being an entrepreneur and being like, oh, if they don't book on my website, well, then they're not ordering from me. Like that to me is, that blows my mind. Like, wait, what? Like,
I can't wait till the day that I'm satisfied where I can just sit in my chair and be like, nope, we don't talk to anybody. Be a great day.
Right? I'm like, one day. And I mean, even me, I'm a little bit bigger than Nick and I still I can't wrap my head around that. Like, that's just not, it's not the service industry. It's not, the hustler in me. It's weird. I don't know. Let's see.
Has anybody started using chatbot to get better ideas on how to interact with their customers?
I haven't. Using Chat GPT is an art form all in itself, right? You go and put something innocuous in the box and it'll write you an essay about something, right? That part of Chat GPT is amazing. And then the new one, right? Google's just came out, or whoever's new one just came out. That part of those is amazing. But to get the correct result out of it on the other end to make sense to send to a client of mine, like the inputs on the front end that I got to put in are right. It's a whole different art form. Like it's got to be super creative and specific. And there's certain ways of wording things to get the AI to recognize it to where it comes out correct on the other end. Personally, I would rather just kind of like, I don't want to call it an A/B test because that makes it sound way too official, but like I just rewrite the template and tell Cassie to send that template. And then I just monitor her messages and to see what is coming back out of the customer's mouths. And if I feel like I goofed it up, right, they're getting more confused or just not closing as much, we'll go back. Or if it's working good, cool. And we just kind of continue tweaking the template just little by little by little by little by little. And then through that kind of, sort of sloppy A/B testing, you get one that actually can close. Not saying you couldn't use Chat GPT, but it's a whole different world for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like ChatGPT is great for a lot of things, but I think the simple things, I mean, we've all kind of like, you don't need this like long explanation. It's really cut and dry if you think about it. Like, what are you looking for? Is there a theme? I don't want long drawn out conversations or to oversell myself for that matter. I think there's definitely instances where, and I don't want people to think that it's a robot either, because I think that personal touch connection, helps sell. When I go on and, something, I'm trying to do something on my Verizon account or whatever, and their chat assistant pops up and it's asking me a million questions, I just get irritated. I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I want. Like, I'm going to click off, and that I don't want that like interaction, for my business. Again, I use Chat GPT for other things, but templated responses are so short and sweet and to the point that I don't think that they need like any extra fluff, really. That's just
one day I think, Event Hawk would just literally be that, right? Like, I don't know how many years down the line that is, but like somebody replies back April 9th, like all the stuff's just going to be automatic. Like it's just going to be an AI that's doing it. That's, like I said, down the line a ways, but that'll be super awesome. Oh, here we go. Kevin's posting the thing from Chat GPT. Oh, Jesus.
What did he say?
Look how long it is. Dear customer,
Well, I mean,
thank you for your interest in renting our 40-foot rock wall obstacle course.
Well, I mean, I think that it's definitely more than that. Like, I just started asking it, like, as we were doing this talk, what I could, offer my customer to click funnel into them to like come to us. And one of the options was like offering them a free planning guide. And I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. So I asked it to create a free birthday party planning guide, keeping in mind my audience, which is middle-aged parents doing birthdays for 1 to 12-year-olds. And it did it like while we're talking. And now I can copy paste that, put it on a web page, and it's something free that I can give to my customer with their purchase.
Yeah, but that's kind of my original point. Like, I don't have the skill set to do what you just did with it, right? Because I don't ever play with it. But what you just did with it is
like, I'm telling you, it's so easy. Like, you're saying Event Hawk years down the line could possibly be doing this. We're talking about every single hour that goes by, everybody is using OpenAI to where in a week from now, we're going to be left behind if we're not using it. Like I went to a conference and it's moving so fast that if you guys are not using it literally on a daily basis, you guys are going to get behind, like so far behind. And I'm not like, I'm saying this because I've never been so excited about something before. At this conference that I went to, there was a rocket scientist that went to this conference and he was playing with the internet before it was available to the public. He said that was revolutionary. This is even more so. And so like, with that being said, it's completely free. And I'm talking about you guys having ideas. You can literally write a book in 1 hour. Like Nick, you have so many ideas. This thing could write you a book in an hour. You can publish it on Amazon in a day and have it on Audible the next day and have a click funnel and a market plan all done within 1 day. And like, you would sell it. Like, I'm shocked you haven't actually incorporated it in all of your businesses. You're going to save so much time. And like, I don't know, like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, that's what everybody should be talking about right now. Like, if you haven't stopped at what you're doing and been like, give me a sales pitch, like, but I mean, of course, like you said, there is an art form to it. You need to know your audience. You need to know how to prompt it. But it's all marketing. It's really all marketing. Like if you know the basic concept of marketing, the atomic offer, you know what I mean? Like you offer them something for free, then you give them the option to purchase something, then you give them the spoon fed option, right? Like, and it's really scary because like I look like at, let's say for example, Tariq, he did this amazing job with high level and he incorporated things that he's known all his life. And it took him a while, but like now with this new system, like it doesn't take that long anymore. And I mean, I'm gonna be going to through a training to see how I can incorporate it. I don't to where, yeah, it could be automated with customer interactions. But as far as like the different types of automatic AI that is out there, you're not talking about the stuff you guys normally see. You're talking about a much more fluid conversation that you would not know is a robot. And you would literally be duped into thinking it's a person you're speaking with. And it can give you short descriptions. Yeah, but I don't know.
Full disclosure, like I was very early on it in the beginning and really messing with it. And then when it got like I don't think it's to scale yet, but like when it had some scale, like every time I go to try to get on it, I can't get on it. And so I'm like, well, this is dumb. Like I literally can't ever get on it because I was starting to incorporate it into some things and kind of to figure it out in the very early stages. And then it went to scale so fast I can never get on it. And I don't want to sound like cliche or douchey here, but like I am a very busy person. I don't have time to sit around and like refresh the page to try to get back on it. And then when I ever do, am able to get in it, right? I can get into it like at 5:30 in the morning sometimes. But it's like since I can't get in on a regular basis, it's just like I get frustrated that I'm like, this is dumb. Like this is dumb. Like this is, and I agree with you. This is the most revolutionary thing since the internet was invented. I totally agree with you. But like, this is fucking stupid. I can't use it. So like, I'm just gonna wait another, right? I'll be behind. I'm smart. I'll catch up. Like I'll figure it out. I just get frustrated that there's just no point because I can't use it routinely, right? I just need 1 day, but I can't get on. Like I can't get on, and it just pisses me off. So
yeah, and I mean, I think that's how it was for a while for me. I probably stopped using it for about a week, but then they came up with the plus which is $20 a month, which helped people that do use it to have the ChatGPT 4, which is even more insane. And then the people that want the free version to be able to use it. So yeah, I mean, that has dramatically changed.
Yeah, and maybe it has, you know what I mean? I've not engaged with it as much as I did. I mean, what was the early days, 2 months ago or something? But just because I'm just like, I don't know, I just can't wait around for it. And I just feel like it's also, and this may be arrogance on my part, but I feel like it's such an intuitive product that if I do wait until it's at a larger scale where there's more competitors or whatever, like I can catch up super fast. I just, right. And again, that might be ignorance talking, but that's just the way I feel.
Nick, how do you get on it? Like, how do you?
I haven't
like,
got
what
on
link
it
do you
in a
use?
month, so I'm not sure. But I'm like,
because I know when I was
I log in.
Yeah, because when I was having an issue, was trying to get to it from like the beginning website or whatever it is. But if you just go straight to the login spot, you go straight in instead of waiting. At least that's been my experience. And I've used it at every different hour. And I've never had a situation where I couldn't go on it.
That's wild to me because I literally can never get on. And so I'm clearly
click on that link that I put and see if you can just log in.
Yeah, I'll check it out and see.
In the comments, Microsoft AI is absolutely wild. It does photos as well. During the day, every student in America is on it. Kevin posted a link that he uses that works. English class is pointless now. Everyone is writing essays with it. In schools, there's no way to prevent it. A 17-year-old kid already built an app that scans it for AI content. Google already has the same type of system as well. I mean, there's a lot of things, you know, going around, and kind of goes back to you know, content. Like we talk about duplicate content and what Google you know, basically like rewards and punishes essentially. And there is a lot of conversations happening about if Google will start penalizing people for using AI content because they have, you know, bots that can recognize the content that's putting out. So again, you know, for short conversations with a customer, you know, simple 1 line or 2 line, I don't think that it's necessary. I mean, you could have it write it, you know, a template for you, but again, I don't think you know, for me, it's not something that is you know, relative to what I'm looking to do for landing pages and product descriptions and social media posts and you know, letters to schools and churches and that kind of stuff. 100%, you know, it's definitely something that I would recommend you guys, you know, look into, because it can, you know, produce some good quality content in a short amount of time. Cassandra says it's good start if you've got writer's block. I agree, you know, just have it write something and then, you know, make it your own. And kind of go from there. Anaí, I, you know, with your party guide or whatever you said it was, forgive me because I can't remember, but we'd kind of do something similar, but we send like a link to a landing page that has a safety video and then content, you know, about like things to look out for at your party and things to do or prepare for. So I can see where, you know, maybe a guide would be beneficial. I'm curious to see what, you know, if you're testing the open rate on that, if it is something that, you know, your clients are engaging with. So anybody else have like any templates that they've created on their own that they would like to share, or something that like works really good for you when you're, you know, closing a sale, like high close rate? Don't everybody jump in at once.
Does anybody write their own? I'm curious to to see if anybody writes their own.
Hi. Honestly, it's not about closure, but when we open, a lot of the times I make my own template because I don't like to answer their calls because I actually have a full-time job and I do this on the side. But I have a template to where I text them right away. Like literally 2 seconds later after Event Hawk tells me their date, tells me everything. Or they call me on the IO phone. I tell them, sorry, I'm on the other line. But if you text me, I can get back to you right now, or I'll call you back after I'm done with this call. They eat it up. And then I can get back to text and I can work 3 different things at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I love texting customers back. There's nothing worse than being, at least for me, there's nothing worse than being on a call with somebody for like 15 or 20 minutes because it seems like all the calls take forever, and then missing like another couple of calls. So my, like answer to that is I don't answer the calls. I just text everybody unless I can see that it's, somebody that I want to talk to. I'm horrible. Event Hawk has spoiled me in that way, because it used to be like I just felt like the phone was glued to my face all day long, and it was exhausting, and you kind of get burnt out, but the text conversation, I could be talking to 5 different people and still doing something completely different and getting better results than talking to the people on the phone. Let's see. Never thought about templates. Hey, that's why we're here. We're just talking about all things that, can work and help us make money and make life easier.
I do think there's like an 80-20 rule though. Like 80% templates, texting, amazing. But then the other 20% is the rest of society that doesn't quite get that yet. Then you make the phone call, you do what you got to do to make that sale.
No, I agree with that. I have a lot of, so we're in Southwest Florida. We have a really heavy like retirement population. And so, pretty much like on a weekly basis, somebody's grandma's calling us to either pay for a birthday party, or the grandkids are coming to visit, or they're down for spring break, or, summer. And these people are not texters. Like I say, I'll text you a link and they're like, oh, we don't text. And I'm like, oh, dang it. And they're like, can you email me? And I'm like, I hate email. But I 100% agree. A lady made a comment on our Facebook post or Facebook page last year, which it has like stuck with me forever, because people always are like, I can't believe you like to text so much, blah, 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 blah. And she said that she would never do business with another company because she has a hearing, like she's hard of hearing. And so phone conversations are really hard for her because it's like distortion in her ear, and she wears like hearing aids. And the fact that we literally texted her from like start to finish, like to place the reservation, to book the order, to leave us a review, to schedule the delivery, to let her know about the pickup, like meant, everything to her. She tipped our guys like $200. I couldn't believe it. But we totally accommodated like every need that she had, and she hadn't had that experience with anyone else. So some people don't like to talk on the phone, and some people only want to text. Let's see. When the work number rings, normally I message them back and ask if text is okay. I will call if they say no to texting. That usually means carve out 30 minutes. I know those 30-minute calls. It's like, I used to be able to do that, but I'm a lot shorter on time these days. Anybody else field their calls? Are you guys answering like every call that you can, or are you screening them?
Answer every call. I'm kind of surprised about this conversation right now.
Nick, you would hate me. I think, and maybe part of it. So I have IO phone. I clearly need to utilize it because I do have an office person, but I can't believe I should stop the live. I literally only answer the call if I can see on caller ID like it's someone important. And then otherwise I screenshot, because I have like visual voicemail, so it reads the whole message. I screenshot it and I send it to my reservationist, and I'm like, here you go. You can either call, I don't even care, like she can call them or she can text them. And that, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm horrible. I do want to utilize IO phone because I have been paying for it, but I only use it to like text my customers the order confirmation. And I actually, guys, just so everybody is in the know, April like 4th or something, I have hired like I have a reservationist right now, like virtual reservationist, but I have hired a full-time office person. So I will let you know if my phone call handling changes and if we see any kind of increase in that.
That's what I want to know, is if you close more.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted because that is a plan for that. I used to never miss a call, but then I got busy with Event Hawk. So it's kind of like Lionel and Frank have keeping me on my toes lately. Always answer, ask for the date and time, and ask if I can send photos. Sometimes I will say that I'll answer the phone and I'll be like, oh my gosh, my computer's not working. Is it okay if I text you? Okay, bye. That usually works. Stop. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. Don't judge me. We're small enough that we answer every call within business hours. I answer every call. God, you guys are making me feel guilty now. Lots of times mine will leave voicemails and then I'll call them back if I miss it. What's IO phone? I rather phone calls because with text I get anxiety. I get the opposite. Like I'm so scatterbrained that I feel like with phone calls I'm like trying to multitask and not like focus on exactly what's, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that? Where text I kind of have like a record of everything so I can go back and check myself. IO phone. Nick, do you use IO phone?
No, I've looked into it a whole bunch of times, and then when I got Event Hawk, I was kind of like, okay, I feel like I'm gonna, like, there's features that don't overlap, but there was enough in Event Hawk where I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna save the, what is it, $60 a month?
Yep. So it's kind of like, I don't know if anybody uses like Grasshopper or Ring Central. It's kind of like a phone tree. So you have like a designated number that the customers call, and then it can like branch off to different people. It can have like a recording that, you know, is like music and professional, and, you know, for sales, click 1, for, I don't know, issues, click 2, or, you know, if this is a school or a church or whatever, click 3. And it lets you redirect those calls to particular people. And then like, say if I had my calls directed to Nick and Nick didn't answer, it would then ring Steven or whatever. So like I said, like a phone tree, I guess, maybe. And then it logs like every call, every voicemail, every text into the IO dashboard, which is really cool as well.
Hey, Jana, I have a
Yes.
document up from Inflatable Office if you want me to screen share on IO phone.
Yes, that would be amazing. Mama Boss, you can port your phone number to IO so you can use your business number. Let me close that. There we go. Can everybody see Vanessa's screen?
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yep, I can see it.
So it looks like auto load customer lead. Smarter Business Phone uses time-saving features to promote productivity. When a call comes in, IO phone pulls the profile and lead information for the caller based on their phone number. That's something else. So like when the person is calling, IO is like doing a search to figure out who it is, and it pulls up all their information in your lead list for that particular client. Auto route calls and sales deliveries. You can also have it set up where like on the weekend, if somebody is like your person, and a certain so a customer from that weekend, let's say you have 30 rentals, you can select those 30 people and it will only ring through to that person if it's somebody with like an active reservation that weekend. So you're not like taking sales calls. The only thing ringing through is actual customers from that weekend. Make your business phone smarter by auto routing customer calls to their applicable sales rep, ultimately reducing the time it takes for them to get the answer they need. Auto-generated text messages, payment dates, delivery times, schedule reminders. You can also text your staff and support. Auto track text responses, supercharged voicemail, call log, and transcription. Pretty much like anything you can think of. IO
And
phone.
If there's a wind alert, it will email and call with the wind alert.
I
Jana's all about that.
Yeah, so I will say the wind alert is really cool, not gonna lie. Last year, Florida has had like horrible wind, but last year when I was new to IO, I'll never forget this. A customer called and it was a principal at a school, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we just got your and I was like, I have no clue what you're talking about. Like, we just got your message about the wind. We've shut the units down. The kids are all safe and inside." And I'm like, what in the world are you like? And I'm sitting there thinking like, I have no idea. And I was like, "You got our call?" And they're like, "Yeah, the auto caller that told us that there was high wind in the area and we needed to," and I was like, "What the heck?" And she's like, "We got an email too." So I go back and I start looking, and I had got a copy of the email from IO, but like Vanessa said, IO auto dials the customer, it plays a recording, and then they also send an automated email as well. It blows my mind that people actually like, I mean, I'm glad they pay attention, but on Saturday we had a customer call and she was like, "Hey, I got the text and the email about the wind. Is it okay if we reinflate the unit now?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, it is." So it's really cool. I mean, I don't know. I hope people don't like turn their stuff off and never turn it back on and start asking for refunds. But it is a nice feature. It's a good safety feature because wind is so, unpredictable and can be, 20 miles here and 10 miles here, and it's only 5 miles apart. So it is a cool feature with IO. I do love that. What else? What are your biggest obstacles? Back on the topic of closing sales, what are your biggest obstacles that you guys see? Like when somebody is asking you a question, or are you finding like your reply rate is low, or you answer other questions and they don't book, or like, are you getting complaints about pricing or your rental durations? Because like, I think rental durations is like all over the place. I see people doing like 4 hours and 6 hours and 8 hours, and I'm an all day kind of person within reason.
That's where we are as well. My biggest thing is, "Oh, I'm just looking. Oh, let me talk to my husband." How do you close those sales?
I'm horrible. And Lionel and Frank will tell you I joke like all the time. And so I usually joke with my customers. Like they'll say, "Oh, I have to talk to my husband or I have to talk to my wife." And I'll just say something like, "Oh, Sarah, I talked to your husband. He said go big or go home," or he gives you the thumbs up, and I'll do like the thumbs up emoji. And then I write back like, "Just kidding. We can't wait to work with you. Let us know, what your husband says," or whatever. And usually they're always like,
I love that.
Book it. I'll ask him later. I'm just going to tell him I'm sorry, and let's just go ahead and do this. I don't want to miss out on it or whatever. That's usually my go-to. Some people are probably like, "Oh, that's, unprofessional or whatnot," but I just like to keep it lighthearted. So that's my go-to on the husband or wife thing. Nick, what do you think?
I used to do that when I worked in sales. I totally forgot about that till you were talking about that. They'd be like, "Well, will you put him on hold and I'm gonna check with my husband and call my husband." I'm like, he didn't tell you? He already called me. He said buy both pairs of shoes. And like whatever. Like
Yeah.
it was a little smoother than that, but I totally forgot about that.
I have a question too about
Oh,
that.
Yeah, of course.
Can you request to put them? Well, I can text both of y'all together. Can you say something like that? Throw them in a group text together.
Yeah, you could You can put a group text together on the
one of them
app.
doesn't have the, he or she might have the authority, not have the authority to buy, as they call it.
It's always
that's a
really
ballsy
crazy.
move, so I say you do
Yeah.
it. Let us know. Let us know.
Keep me posted on that. If somebody leaves you a bad review, hey, me and Nick said, just let us know what you find out. It always cracks me up. Like, it's weird to me. People will say like, and I've had this a lot lately, like, okay, yeah, I want to reserve it. My husband's going to have to call you to reserve it. He has the money, and I'm like, wait, what? But that's like a common thing, and so
I told him to set it right because it was
I don't think he was talking to us. But yeah, no, like, I'm really surprised at the people that are like, okay, my husband's gonna call you, and I'm like, weird. So that, those are the times that I just don't say anything. I'm like, okay, I can't wait to hear from him. And then he calls back and he's like, oh, this is,
I think that's more of a cop out.
No, they call back though. Like, that's the weird thing about it. It's like the husband's like, oh, you talked to Shelly and here's my credit card. And I'm like, okay, does Shelly not have access to the credit card? Like, I want to just
No, that's
ask,
weird.
like, what's going on here? Because it's not that we're losing them. It's like literally that these women have like no access to money. That's the way I'm taking it. Or maybe it's that they have to ask permission and that's why the husband's calling back. But it's like an every week thing lately. And I'm like, God, that is so bizarre. Like, I'll answer the phone and they'll be like, oh, this is Josh. You just talked to Shelly or Brenda or whatever. And I'm like, so weird. Maybe it's a new trend, I don't know. Blows my mind.
So whenever I get that frequently. I'm in a lot of, because I was a stay-at-home mom for like 7 years. So I totally get that. That was me. Like, okay, I have to discuss this with my husband and I'll get right back with you or whatever. So I get that. That's one of those things that I like 100%. I put them in a note on my phone and I follow up 24 hours later. And I always get them to at that point, because if you don't follow up, you have to think these people are telling all of these different bounce house places with different prices that they have to talk to their husband or they have to talk to their wife or whatever. And then whoever's going to follow up with them first is going to get the sale. Like, because they're not coming back. They don't come back. They just Google somebody again,
Sure. I agree with that. I have another question, and Stacey kind of just hit on that. And I was having a conversation with my reservationist today. So no matter whether you have, a booking software or not, when you see or you get some kind of notification that you have a lead of some sort, how soon are you following up with that lead? Like, are you doing like a couple of hours? Are you doing at the end of business? Are you doing 24 hours later, 48 hours later? Anybody? You guys got to be following up. So
I mean, less than 24 hours, because we're not like super duper busy. I mean, I get those notifications immediately and I'm like on it immediately. But I mean, if we had more, if we were bigger, that's,
yeah. No, it was really funny. I'm going to throw my reservationist under the bus right now, because I said to her, I don't know what like jogged my memory, but she's really good. She's a really good closer. I'm super blessed. But I asked her today, like, how are you following up with people? Because I was looking for something and I came across like a whole bunch of people who had gotten like quotes for really far in advance. Like, we're talking like 2, 3, 4 months, right? And so I asked her, I was like, when are you following up with those people? And she's like a week or two before their party. And I'm like, okay, wait a second. So they're getting a quote like 2 or 3 months in advance, but we're not following up with them until like way after. So to me, that means like that way after, they've already booked with somebody else. Like, even though it's so far out, we still need to be, kind of utilizing our couple of hour end of business day procedures, no matter what the event date is. So if you guys aren't doing that, or if you're like, oh, I have time because it's not a rental until July, or, you know, whatever, I would still follow up with them, you know, as soon as possible, not drag it out. Because if people are looking, I think that they're, you know, apt to book as well. Nick, real quick, since we're talking about reservationists, I forgot her name because I'm horrible with names. Cassie, is that right?
Yeah.
She is legit amazing. I had to harass her. I had to call a couple of times, like a week or two ago, and like one day she answered, and she was like, "I'm at the zoo," and I'm like, "And you answered the phone?" And every time I called, she answered, and she didn't know it was me because I called from like my phone, Joe's phone. I called from the event because we were doing like a verification, but it was hilarious. She answered the phone every single time, and I felt so bad.
No, she's legit. Like I told her, like the phone rang, it was like 8:45. I'm like, I'm not answering at 8:45. You know what I mean? And then, but it only rang like 2 times. So it rings both our phones, right? And it rings 2 times. I'm like, oh my God, she just answered that. So I waited a couple minutes and then I texted her. I'm like, dude, you don't have to answer the phone at 8:45. She's like, no, I'm not doing anything. It's all good. The kids don't go to bed till 9. But at 9, like, I'm not answering the phone after that. It's Fortnite time or something like that. She's like, but I'll answer till 9. I'm not doing anything. I'd rather drive sales. I'm like, get it. Love it. Yeah.
Derek says, after my call with Jana, Lionel, and Frank, it went from a couple of hours to minutes. Another question for those of you that use EventHawk, how long? Okay, so like, let's say that a customer gets the text, right? But they never reply to the text. EventHawk follows up with them a couple of days later, but are you following up with them? Like, are you picking up the phone and calling him like, hey, Sarah, we saw you, you know, came through our whatever website. Is there something I can help you with? Or are you guys just letting those leads go dry, basically, if they don't respond to the text?
Hey,
I'm trying to
Jana,
learn from you guys. This is the test.
I'll personally, I would call them. I'll put a reminder in my phone and actually call them a few days later.
Oh no, now I got my like Siri going. Oh. Anybody? Okay, so Kevin says I try calling. Hey, no, I mean I mean if they got the EventHawk text and did not reply to the text, do you follow up with those people? Or do you...
Right now, no.
Yeah, we text them again.
Okay.
But doesn't EventHawk send them something out like within like 24 hours? Like, hey, this is so-and-so, just checking in with you just to make sure.
It does. It says like, can we jump on a, you know, we didn't hear back. Can we jump on a call or something like that? Michelle, that was so embarrassing. I didn't even know what it was. I thought somebody was playing a joke on me, but no, it was my Siri going off. I, being totally honest, if they go through EventHawk and they don't ever respond to the text and they don't get a quote on my website, I don't follow up with them.
Ditto.
Shame on me, but I never really thought about it. Like, I feel like they've had 2 attempts, you know, am I really going to be able to make a difference on the phone?
We don't call them. I learned a long time ago, don't call people. People do not like that.
Yeah, I was just curious if anybody was doing it different.
Yeah, because I used to call, I started calling quotes that didn't finish like way back in the day, like brand new to Inflatable Office. And I was like, let me test, I'll call. And I hate phone calls. Like, I'm not a big phone call guy. But I'm like, right, muster up the courage, let's call. And these people are like, who, what the, bro, you called me at work right now? I was like, all right, never mind. It's a dead from then on, text only.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Tariq, I think, does, I think they call, I think they email, and I think they text, but I don't know. I'm just weird like that. I don't like to be, I'm not like a super pushy person. I feel like the text reminder is enough. And we close a lot of people with that follow-up text. Like, you're downgraded to a quote, we didn't hear back from you. I think my reply rate to that follow-up text is like 10%, which I consider, you know, high for a follow-up. Let's see. If they're a repeat customer, I will. If not, I let Valhawk take care of it. How soon after you text them again? Kevin, if I get a quote through IO, I usually follow up with them by the end of the day. If not within, you know, usually I try like within an hour or two, but that doesn't always work. What else? So let's kind of open it up to you guys. What questions do you guys have? Any tips or tricks that you guys can offer? Lionel, Frank, anything that you guys can add?
I just want to
How do
say,
you know the close rates of those text messages? Are you like manually tallying, or is there a way to see it electronically?
So the texts that come through EventHawk, you should be able to see in your dashboard, your conversion rate.
Interesting. Very cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can make you a video. Vanessa, if you're here, if you just make a note, I don't know if she's here or not. I'll try to remember. If I don't, Nick, just message me.
What do I need?
If you can make Nick just a short video on how to check his conversion rate in EventHawk.
Yeah, I have to send him a video for something else that I don't think he read my message about.
I did.
Okay.
I saw it. I did.
So
It's a neat trick, so just remind me.
I love tricks. Vanessa
knows all the tricks. I'm like, Vanessa, I'm going to have to hire you on a Saturday or Sunday to do all these really cool things for me. And I'm going to pay you. Let's see. So in an ideal situation, you'd follow up within an hour. In an ideal would, because if you think about it, like think about what you guys do. When you go to buy something online, do you price shop? Do you go from like one website to the other, you know, looking around for stuff? I think a lot of people do that. And so I think it's the same kind of behaviors that you see when people are looking for inflatables. You know, they're looking for something that catches their eye, that fits their theme. And if they don't find that on your website, then they're surely going to keep looking. And so if you get the opportunity to text them or to call them and kind of just rope them back in, you have a much higher rate, you know, chance of closing them just based on customer service alone, I think.
Yeah, and if you send them the link to get back to their quote, the amount of times they never say a word to you but book is astonishing. They never reply, but that my emails just go bling, you know, auto booking, contract, payment, and they never say a word.
Same thing. We'll send them out like on Wednesdays. We'll do like a last minute follow up to see if anybody's like still in quote status, because people are dumb and they don't read. They just like click, 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 and they think that they're reserved. And so we'll send out a thing and we'll send out, you know, 10 or 15 quote, you know, downgrades or whatever. And then like all of a sudden we've got 3 or 4 or 5 more rentals. And I'm like, oh crap, we should probably stop doing that, you know, if we're not prepared to. That happened to us last weekend. We had like 24 rentals and we did on Wednesday, we did our follow-ups. Usually we don't do them until Thursday. And we ended up with like 32 rentals. And my husband was like, you said we only had, and I'm like, we followed up and we just, you know, we normally we get some every single weekend doing that. But for whatever reason, we just had people that like never finished and they were all like, oh my gosh, I forgot, or oh my gosh, is it too late? And like Nick said, all of a sudden these emails start coming in and I'm like, oh, we have a problem. Let's see.
It's a good problem to have though.
It is.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm not complaining. My guys were complaining this weekend. We had to like put a third truck on the road because everybody was cranky. But you know, and it kind of goes to saying, you know, like I do all these things and I try all these things and I get myself into these like binds. So before you do these things, like, you know, make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Kind of like with the add-ons, like if you are a small operator and you only have so much room on your trailer and you've already figured out, you know, the number of rentals that you can take each weekend, maybe doing an add-on text is not a really good idea, because it can really throw a wrench into your whole entire schedule if you start offering these things. But then it creates you having to do another run, or, you know, pushing back your times because you're now adding like all these extras. So always be mindful, you know, of that. My reservationist and I were talking about like a better way to send out the downgraded quotes, because with season coming, we foresee that being like a constant issue, because if we're not booking the people that have already gotten quotes, then we're getting like a lot of last minute people, and it's really hard to accommodate, you know, well, first of all, there's like a major, Nick hates when I talk about this, labor shortage. So here like, okay, I'm hearing Nick in my head. You know, like, we're trying to be strategic because we're kind of shorthanded, and then we got to count on everybody showing up, and it's so weird. My guys kill it in the summer. Like, when I need them and I need everybody to show up, they're like on fire, you know, from like May through 4th of July, we have very little issues. But the rest of the year, it's like I wake up every day and I'm, you know, my husband looks at me and he's like, so who didn't show up today? And so as you try to, you know, like, accommodate everybody, I used to hate saying no. I used to like try to squeeze everybody in. I wanted to make everybody happy, and I like money, you know, but don't get yourself into like a position where you're wearing yourself out, you're burning yourself out. If you have workers, you're burning them out, you're burning yourself out trying to like stress about rearranging everything so you can squeeze in all these last minute people that didn't like your prices 2 weeks ago, but now, you know, nobody else is calling them back. Does anybody not do last minute rentals, or does anybody charge for last minute rentals?
Yeah, you definitely got to charge for last minute rentals. Like, I get them all the time on Saturdays. And I mean, I can be just pulling in and be like, hey, my wife will come out and say, hey, you want to do another delivery? And she'll have them on the phone. Oh, hey, another $25. I literally just sent one of my guys home. I got to call him back in. Let's go back in the truck and go. And they'll pay it last minute because people cancel on, you know, they book with people that are not insured or anything like that and cancel on them last minute. And we'll take it all day.
Yeah, that's like the one situation where I would charge a last minute fee is like, the guys are just finished the route, they're dying. It's like, yeah, we can, yeah, maybe less. I think I've only charged it one time though. I had to run the foam machine like the opposite direction of the rest of the route at the end of the thing. Every other time though, it's just like I try to be the safe. I like to save the party.
So let me ask you guys a question. Okay, so let's say you're taking a last minute rental. Do you guys ask your employees, if you have employees, or do you tell them? Like, do you say, hey guys, will you do this last minute delivery before you take it? Or do you say, hey guys, I took a last minute delivery, here it is, you're taking it?
You say, hey bro, you want to get some more hours? They say yes. You go, fantastic. I need you to grab Purple Crush and run it up to Covington right now. The hours are right now.
So what if they say no?
No, I call them before. I tell the customer, I say, I gotta make sure I can get it to you. Like, we have it. I just don't know if I have the humans still. So let me double check, and then I'll call them. And then, yeah, I'll be like, bro, I need you to do me a favor. Will you run this Purple Crush? And every time, it's never been an issue before. Off the top of my head, I think there has been, actually, now that I'm saying that, there's been one or two where I had to call the person back and be like, I just can't get it there. Like, I totally want to, but like, the route's over. The guys have plans. Like, stuff's going on. I got a soccer game to coach in 20 minutes. There's just no way to get it to you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm always curious about that, because if so I have like one guy that always says yes, no matter what. Like I could never, I don't think he's ever told me no, you know? And then the rest of my guys are usually like, no, I would say like 75% of the time. So I always struggle with like, we don't ever like set an expectation for time off. Like you're going to be off by 3 or you're going to be off by 1. It's just kind of like, you know, you're working Saturday until we're all done. You know what I mean? And so I always struggle with like, do I ask them or do I tell them? Because if I ask them, 90% of the time it's going to be a no. But if I just say, hey, we added this to the delivery without have ever setting that expectation of them being done by a certain time, you know, then it's a little bit better received, I guess. They hate me. They're like, oh, you know, she's adding something to us, but it's, you know, at the same time, it's like, well, we only have a couple of days a week that we can make money, and you know.
I totally forgot there was one time I charged a delivery fee and then called the guys and said, I charged her, I don't remember what, it wasn't huge, but I was like, I charged her an extra $50. And she said, yes. So if you can run it over there, like you guys get the $50. Like I'm not keeping the delivery fee. That's for you guys.
Yeah, I've definitely done that before.
And that worked like a charm.
Right now, we got ours set up for $75 after they rent before within 24 hours of the day. I wanted to drop that down, but I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, it should be $0. Mine's $0. I rented 2 slides last Friday. Cassie had a thing. I don't remember what she had, like a dinner or something. And the phone rang at 7:30. I rented a slide, and the phone rang at 8:30. 8:36. I picked it up and rented another combo. I added 2 more on Friday night. Happy as a clam. Like, I don't want to charge more because I don't want to lose that. Like I want those. And I'm a little different than Jana. Like I actually don't like money that much. I love like the hunt of the money. Like I love the hunt. Like and I love the market share. Like I want to go. You go take that rental. They're never calling anybody else, and like I smile inside when I can get that market share for the rest of my life.
I agree. I'm not like, money isn't what drives me, but my expenses are really high. So
I get that.
That I have, 10 or 12 guys. I've got a couple of office staff. I've got 2 warehouses, 4 trucks. I'm like, those last minute rentals, I'm like, oh my gosh, that just paid, Paul's payroll. So it's not necessarily, it's money relative to expenses. It's not necessarily that I want to profit more or anything like that. It's just that, like, I'm like, oh, that's not going to be as tight, or my, labor percentage just dropped 3% or, whatever. So, I can pay my guys more. I can give them a little bonus. I can buy their lunch. Funny story, Dawn, I'm going to talk about that in 2 seconds because I agree with what you just said. Funny story, a couple of weeks ago, we did a park, which we almost never do parks. I despise parks. I charge a $200 park fee. I can't even make this up. My guys ran over a fork, okay? Like a literal silverware fork. It had 4 prongs. It punctured the tire. They could not get the patch to hold because it was like 4 different spots. It cost me $464 for a new tire. Like, how does a little fork do that much damage to this big tire? It was like the worst day ever. That was totally random, but that's one of the reasons that I like money, because when a last minute rental came in for Sunday, all I could think about was how irritated I was that we had paid $464 for a new tire at a park that I didn't want to do in the first place over a fork in the road, like from, it was like in the little parking lot. And my God, I was like, how did you
your trailer tires from? That's brutal.
It wasn't, no, Nick, it was the truck tire. It was the truck tire.
Okay.
This huge, thick, massive beast of a tire. They made a video. They were like embarrassed, but like,
wild.
Yeah, they hung the fork on the wall in the office because They thought that I was like gonna freak out. I mean, they took a video for proof because they knew I was like not gonna, I didn't even believe them at first, but there was enough witnesses at the party that were like, we can't believe we tried to help them patch it. You know, these guys were like, oh, they're young kids, they don't know how to patch it, and none of the patches held. So it was a whole mess over there.
That's wild.
I'll eventually post it. This is so crazy. So annoyed. Food motivates my guys. Mine too.
You ready?
And let's see. David here. Stacy says we're crazy. She wants all the money. That's either Stacy or Ken. I'm not sure. Let's see. And then Dawn says we tell them cash for last minute. So I don't know if you guys like look at any data as far as like chargebacks go or with your credit card companies, but they say that like most chargebacks occur on something that's like for a service, something that's rented like at the last minute, like usually within like 48 hours has like the highest chargeback rate. So funny story, I haven't had a chargeback in forever. And right after the hurricane, we let a lady rent last minute, like the day before. Like 3 or 4 months later, she came back and did a chargeback, and it was $500. And we lost because we did not have a proof of delivery receipt. We had a signed contract, an electronic like all these things, a waiver, acknowledgement of like the rules, but nothing actually like saying that she received the equipment that she ordered like on the day of. And so we lost the chargeback, and they had told us had we had a proof of delivery receipt signed that we would have automatically won the chargeback. So Dawn said they require cash for last minute rentals. I 100% started implementing that just about a month ago. And I used to be super lenient on like payment on delivery, but if they're paying with a card, I'm now requiring payment 3 days prior to their event. Otherwise, they have to pay cash on delivery, because chargebacks are real, and I don't like to lose money. I like money, and I don't want to lose money.
Jana, when you get a chargeback, do you get a separate notification, or is it just on your monthly statement?
So it depends on who your credit card processor is. Nick, do you use Square or Global Payments?
Global.
Global Payments sucks. So I switched to Square after I got that chargeback, because Global Payments sent a letter, and that's the only way they notify you is in the mail. And so I just thought it was like a statement, because they send you a monthly statement. And so I never even opened it. And then when they deducted it from my account, I was like, what was that? And I called, and they're like, oh, well, we mailed you, a whatever. And I'm like, so I looked through the mail, and it looked identical to a statement. And I was like, you guys are such losers. Like, you couldn't have emailed me, you couldn't have called me or whatever. And so that is when I switched from Global Payments to Square. Square will, they'll email you, and then you get like a message in your Square dashboard as well.
Yeah, I'm switching back to Square, because I switched from Square to Global because I got promised all these great rates, and then like you go do the math, you're like, wait, this is worse. You guys are charging me more.
Yeah, and they charge you like monthly fees if you don't process. Global is a ripoff. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, because I process everything from the office. Like, my guys aren't running around with card swipers.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
100%. So I used to not love cash, but now with the last minute stuff, absolutely cash is a must, or I'm not renting to you. If you use Square, turn off ACH, or you will eventually get bad check. It takes 7 to 11 days before they notify you about the issue. I don't take ACH, but I appreciate the tip. Square also has like a I cannot think of what it's called, but it's like up to $1,000 like chargeback protection on certain accounts as well. Like once you process a certain amount, you can ask for that program. So it kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind. Keisha says, I lost 3 chargebacks with Square 3 times for non-refundable deposits with my event space. I haven't had any issues. I wonder about that, you know, like as well for spaces or deposits. I charge $1 deposit and then I have a cancellation fee. Because in a lot of states and with a lot of like cards like MasterCard, Visa, Discover, the deposits have to be refundable. So that's why I do a cancellation fee instead of I take $1 deposit and then I charge a cancellation fee. And I haven't ever lost a dispute on a cancellation fee. You will typically lose chargebacks no matter what. Credit card companies like their customers, not their merchants. I agree with that. How do you prove you dropped off a unit, a photo? So Stacy, we take photos on every delivery. And then we also have the customer sign a proof of delivery form, like acknowledging that they received the equipment. Does anybody do anything different?
Is your proof of delivery a separate form that the guys carry that's not tied to their rental? Like it's just a generic form?
It is not tied to anything inflatable office. It is a I think that we posted it. I have a let me try to show this to you guys. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Maybe not.
Put it
This
against
whole
your shirt. Against your shirt.
There we go. So this is it's a customer acknowledgement. I can send it to you guys. I think I just posted it like last week or the week before, but there's a gray box and this whole portion talks about proof of delivery. So I have them sign, I've been sued a handful of times. So in all of those lawsuits, I had a electronic contract signed and a paper acknowledgement. And those helped. But my proof of delivery is on a rule page that talks about wind and turning off the water and dog waste and all that kind of stuff. It's just built into that, but it's them signing and initialing that they acknowledge receipt of the unit on that date. And they actually paper sign it.
Jana, how long do you hang on to that document?
7 years.
Okay, got it.
Hey, can I just point out that the proof of delivery document is actually in your success kit. If you log into your Event Hawk and you click on the left-hand side and select success kit, it's under the document named sample delivery confirmation. On a computer or desktop. Sorry, Jana.
Edgar, no, great info. You're right, Vanessa. I knew we put it somewhere. Edgar asked if we have them, or he says he has them sign a safety checklist. I have them sign a safety checklist as well, but that is not them acknowledging that they have actually received that service. That is just them basically acknowledging the rules for the unit that you may or may not have delivered. It has to be something that is kind of like when you guys buy a new inflatable and the freight company makes you sign the receipt saying that you inspected it and that you received it. It's the same kind of thing. Same thing with like a package, expensive package that you receive. You are signing, acknowledging receipt of that delivery. Any other questions? Anything else that you guys want to talk about? It doesn't have to be about closing or chargebacks or any of the things that we've talked about tonight. There's so many people and nobody has anything to say. Let me, you know what? Give me 2 seconds, Dawn. I'm actually going to stop the recording. I'm going to thank everybody for being here. I'm going to turn off the live and then we can